My name is Emily Cooper, and I'm 26 years old. Right now, I'm standing in my parents' kitchen at 7 in the morning, watching my nearly 30-year-old brother Ryan eat cereal in his pajamas while I'm already dressed for work. Again. Ryan just quit his third job this year because, and I quote, the manager didn't recognize his potential. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments below and hit that like and subscribe button if you've ever felt like the responsible one in a family of dreamers. You'll definitely want to stick around for what happened next. Let me paint you a picture of my charming family dynamic. I've been working since I was 16, put myself through college on scholarships, and I'm currently grinding through an MBA program at night while working full-time at a marketing firm. Meanwhile, Ryan over there just informed our parents that his latest career setback was actually a blessing in disguise, because now he has time to explore his creative side. Emily's always been the driven one, my mother Linda says, refilling Ryan's coffee mug like he's some kind of invalid. You two are just different types of people. Different types. Right. I'm the type who pays her own bills, and Ryan's the type who still lives at home and considers PlayStation a career development tool. But sure, Mom, we're just different. My father, Mark, walks in wearing his work clothes, ready for another day at the automotive plant where he's worked for 25 years. Morning, sweetheart, he says to me, then looks at Ryan. Son, you really need to start thinking about your next move. Can't live here forever. Actually, Ryan says, straightening up with that look he gets when he's about to announce another brilliant plan. I've been thinking about starting my own YouTube channel. Gaming content is really taking off right now. I choke on my coffee. Ryan, you're 29 years old. Age is just a number, Em. Some of the biggest YouTubers started later in life. Linda jumps in immediately. I think that's wonderful, honey. You've always been so creative. And there it is. The family pattern that's been driving me insane for years. Ryan announces another half-baked scheme, gets immediate family support, while I work myself to death and get told I'm too serious about everything. I need to get to work, I say, grabbing my keys and laptop bag. You know, that place where they pay me actual money for actual work? Emily, Dad calls after me. Be nice to your brother. He's going through a tough time. Going through a tough time. Ryan's been going through a tough time since high school graduation. At what point do we acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, he's the architect of his own problems? But I don't say that. I never say that. Because in the Cooper family, Emily is the one who has her act together. Which apparently means Emily doesn't get to have opinions about other people's complete lack of direction. I drive to work thinking about how my MBA program costs me $3,000 per semester. Money I save by eating lunch at my desk and skipping every social event my coworkers invite me to. Meanwhile, Ryan's planning to become the next internet sensation from our parents' basement. The really fun part? Last month when I mentioned maybe moving out and getting my own place, Mom actually looked hurt. Why would you want to leave? We're family. But when Ryan talks about his big break that's always just around the corner, nobody suggests he might want to contribute to household expenses, or God forbid, buy his own groceries. At work, my colleague Jennifer notices my mood immediately. Family breakfast again? She asks. Ryan's becoming a YouTuber now, I tell her. Ah, and let me guess, your parents think it's a wonderful idea. You know my family too well. Jennifer shakes her head. I don't understand how they don't see what you've accomplished. MBA program, promotion track, completely self-sufficient. Because accomplishments are expected from me. Dreams are celebrated in Ryan. What I don't tell Jennifer is that sometimes I wonder what would happen if I just stopped. Stopped being the responsible one. Stopped having everything figured out. Stopped making it look so easy that everyone takes it for granted. But then I remember that I actually like my life. I like my career. I like my independence, and I definitely like paying my own bills. Ryan can have the YouTube dreams. I'll take the steady paycheck and the respect that comes with actually earning your way in the world, even if my own family doesn't seem to notice the difference. Chapter 2. My phone buzzes during my lunch break with a text from Mom. Come for dinner tonight. Ryan has exciting news. More exciting news. Because the YouTube announcement wasn't enough excitement for 1 week, apparently. I walk into the house that evening to find the dining room table actually set with the good plates. Mom's wearing her nicest sweater, and Dad's changed out of his work clothes. Ryan's sitting at the head of the table like he's about to announce his presidential campaign, and next to him sits a girl I've never seen before. Emily! Mom practically shouts when she sees me. Come meet Chloe! Chloe waves at me with perfectly manicured nails and a smile that looks like it was borrowed from a toothpaste commercial. She's pretty in that effortless way that usually requires about 2 hours of effort, and she's wearing the kind of casual designer outfit that costs more than my monthly car payment. "Hi, Emily. I've heard so much about you," Chloe says, and I immediately know she's lying because Ryan barely acknowledges my existence most days. "Chloe and I have been dating for 3 months," Ryan announces proudly, like he just discovered electricity. 3 months. My brother has been dating someone for 3 months, and this is the first I'm hearing about it. But then again, I've been pulling 12-hour days between work and school, so I'm probably the last to know about everything that happens in this house. "That's wonderful," I say, sitting down in my usual spot. "What do you do, Chloe?" "Oh, I'm between opportunities right now," she says with that same bright smile. "The job market is so challenging these days." Between opportunities. That's a creative way to say unemployed. "Chloe just graduated from state," Mom says, serving everyone generous portions of pot roast. "Art history major." "That's nice," I say. Because what else do you say? Art history is a perfectly respectable field of study, but in combination with between opportunities, it's starting to paint a picture. "We're thinking about getting a place together," Ryan announces, and I nearly drop my fork. "Already?" The word slips out before I can stop it. "When you know, Chloe says, reaching over to squeeze Ryan's hand. "Besides, I think it would be so romantic to build a life together." Build a life together. With what money? Ryan just quit his job 2 weeks ago, and Chloe is between opportunities. But nobody seems concerned about these minor details. "I think that's wonderful," Linda says immediately. "Young love is such a beautiful thing." Dad nods approvingly. "It'll be good for Ryan to have someone special in his life. Settle him down a bit." I look around the table, wondering if I'm the only person who sees the giant red flags here. But everyone else is beaming like Ryan just announced he'd won the lottery. "So what kind of place are you looking for?" I ask, trying to sound supportive instead of skeptical. "Something with character," Chloe says dreamily. "Maybe a loft downtown, or one of those cute apartments in the Arts District." Those cute apartments in the Arts District start at about $1,500 a month, plus utilities, plus security deposit, plus all the other expenses that come with actually being an adult. But Ryan's nodding along like this is the most reasonable plan in the world. "We're not in any rush," he says. "Right now, Chloe's staying here sometimes, getting to know the family better." Staying here. Sometimes. I glance at Mom, who's practically glowing with approval. "Chloe's been such a help around the house," she gushes. "She made the most beautiful flower arrangement yesterday, and she's been keeping Ryan company while he works on his YouTube channel." Of course she has. Ryan's found himself a girlfriend who's as allergic to employment as he is, and the family thinks it's adorable. After dinner, I help Mom clear the dishes while Ryan and Chloe settle into the living room to watch Netflix. Dad retreats to his workshop in the garage, leaving Mom and me alone in the kitchen. "She seems nice," I say carefully. "Oh, she's lovely," Mom gushes. "And she's so good for Ryan. He's been much happier since they started dating." "Mom, don't you think they're moving pretty fast? 3 months isn't very long to know someone." Linda stops loading the dishwasher and looks at me with that patient expression she gets when she thinks I'm being too practical. "Emily, sweetheart, not everyone approaches relationships the way you do." "The way I do? What's that supposed to mean?" "You're so focused on career and independence. But Ryan's more of a romantic. He follows his heart." "Right. Ryan follows his heart and I follow my brain. And apparently, following your brain makes you incapable of understanding true love. I just think maybe they should figure out the practical stuff before they start planning to move in together." I say. "Money isn't everything, honey." Easy to say when you're not the one who'll be paying the bills. Chapter 3. 3 weeks later, Chloe has basically moved in. I come home from work to find her clothes in the laundry room, her organic coconut milk in the refrigerator, and her extensive collection of beauty products taking over the bathroom counter. She greets me every day like we're long-lost friends. "Emily, how was work? You look tired." "You should try this new face mask I got. It's amazing for stress lines." Stress lines. I'm 26 years old. But Mom thinks Chloe's concern for my appearance is sweet. "She's just looking out for you, honey. She knows how hard you work." What Chloe knows is how to make herself indispensable. She's always volunteering to run errands for Mom, always complimenting Dad on his cooking, always asking Ryan about his YouTube progress like it's the most fascinating thing in the world. "You're so lucky to have such a driven sister," I heard her tell Ryan yesterday. I wish I had Emily's focus. It sounds like a compliment, but somehow it feels like she's explaining why I'm different, why I don't quite fit into their cozy little family dynamic. The truth is, I am tired. Working full-time and taking night classes is exhausting, And it doesn't help that I come home every day to find my personal space slowly being invaded by someone who's essentially a stranger. But every time I try to address it, I'm made to feel like the problem. Emily's just not used to sharing, Mom explains to Chloe, after I mention that maybe we should establish some bathroom scheduling. She's always been very independent. Independent. In the Cooper family, that's code for antisocial. The breaking point comes on a Thursday night when I get home from my strategic management class to find Chloe reorganizing our kitchen cabinets. "I hope you don't mind," she says cheerfully. "But I thought I'd help your mom get things more organized." The spice rack was a disaster. Our spice rack has been organized the same way for 20 years. Mom knows where everything is. But now all the spices are arranged alphabetically, which sounds logical until you realize that Mom organizes everything by how frequently she uses it. "Chloe, this is really nice of you," I say carefully, "but maybe you should check with Mom before rearranging her kitchen." "Oh, she asked me to help," Chloe says brightly. "She said she's been meaning to reorganize for ages but never had time." That night, Mom can't find the paprika, or the oregano, or anything else she needs for dinner. But when I point this out, she just laughs. "It'll just take some getting used to. Chloe was just trying to help. Chloe was just trying to help." That's become the family motto. When she uses the last of my expensive shampoo, she was just trying to help herself feel confident. When she eats my leftover lunch that I was saving for the next day, she was just trying to help clean out the refrigerator. When she accidentally shrinks my favorite sweater in the washing machine, she was just trying to help with laundry. But when I work late 3 nights in a row and miss family dinner, I'm being antisocial. When I study in my room instead of watching their nightly Netflix marathon, I'm isolating myself. When I point out that maybe someone who's between opportunities shouldn't be ordering $20 skincare products online, I'm being negative. "You're starting to sound bitter." Ryan tells me after I suggest that maybe his girlfriend shouldn't be making herself quite so comfortable in our parents' house. "Chloe's not doing anything wrong." Have you ever experienced that moment when you realize your own family sees you as the villain in their story? Drop a comment below and let me know, because that's exactly where I was starting to find myself. The final straw comes when I discover that Chloe has been using my laptop to help Ryan research YouTube equipment while I'm at work. "I hope that's okay," she says when I find my browser history full of searches for professional cameras and lighting equipment. "Ryan mentioned you had good research skills, so I thought I'd take notes on your laptop." She thought she'd take notes on my laptop, my work laptop, the one with my client files and confidential company information. "Chloe, you can't use my work computer. Ever. That's a fireable offense if my company finds out." "Oh my God. I'm so sorry," she says, eyes wide with what appears to be genuine shock. "I had no idea. I just thought it was the family computer." "The family computer?" "We haven't had a family computer since 2015. But when I explain this to Mom, she gives me that look again. "Emily, she made an honest mistake. You don't need to be so harsh about it." And Ryan adds, "You're acting like she committed a crime. She was just trying to help with my research." There it is again. She was just trying to help. I'm starting to think that just trying to help is going to be the reason I eventually lose my mind. Chapter 4. By the time fall arrives, I've basically become a stranger in my own house. Chloe has managed to insert herself into every family tradition, every inside joke, every casual conversation. She knows exactly when Dad likes his coffee, she's memorized Mom's favorite TV shows, and she's even started giving Ryan career advice about his YouTube channel, which, by the way, has exactly 47 subscribers after 6 months. But nobody talks about that. What they do talk about is how wonderful it is that Ryan has someone who believes in his dreams. How sweet it is that Chloe brings fresh perspective to the family. How nice it is to have another woman in the house to balance out all that masculine energy. I've apparently become chopped liver. The situation reaches peak absurdity when Mom starts asking Chloe's opinion about family decisions. What restaurant should we go to for Dad's birthday? What color should we paint the guest bedroom? Should we get a new dining room table? Chloe has such good taste, Mom explains when I point out that maybe the daughter who's lived here for 26 years should get some input. And she's going to be part of the family soon. Part of the family soon. They've been dating for 6 months, and apparently that's long enough to earn voting rights in family meetings I don't even get invited to. But the real problem isn't Chloe. The real problem is that my family has decided I don't need their attention anymore. I'm the responsible one, the independent one, the one who has her life figured out. So why would they worry about including me in anything? It's like being too competent has made me invisible. The breaking point comes on a Sunday morning when I find Ryan and Chloe planning a family vacation to Hawaii, using my parents' credit card. It's not like we're being irresponsible. Ryan explains when I question the logic of a $5,000 trip planned by two unemployed people. Mom and Dad said they wanted to do something special for their anniversary. Did they say they wanted you to plan and pay for it with their credit card? Emily, you always assume the worst about everything, Chloe says with that patient smile she's perfected. Maybe if you spent more time with the family, you'd understand what's really going on. Maybe if I spent more time with the family that excludes me from planning meetings and decision-making, but somehow expects me to pay attention to their financial choices. Ryan, I say as calmly as I can manage, you don't have a job. Chloe doesn't have a job. You're both living off Mom and Dad's generosity, and now you want to add a Hawaiian vacation to their credit card debt? It's not debt, Ryan says defensively. It's an investment in family happiness. An investment in family happiness. That's what we're calling financial irresponsibility now. Besides, Chloe adds, your parents work so hard. They deserve something nice. They deserve something nice. From the woman who's been eating our food and using our utilities for 6 months without contributing a dime. But when I try to explain this to Dad later, he just shrugs. Emily, your mother and I can handle our own finances. Ryan and Chloe are trying to do something thoughtful, with other people's money. Dad, they're adults. Maybe it's time they started acting like it. Not everyone moves through life at your pace, sweetheart. Some people need more support. More support. Ryan has had 29 years of support. At what point does support become enabling? But I don't say that either. Because in the Cooper family, Emily is the one who points out problems, which makes Emily the problem. That night, I sit in my room working on a marketing analysis for my strategic planning class, and I can hear them downstairs, laughing, planning, dreaming about Hawaii, while I calculate the real cost of their investment in family happiness. The worst part? They're not wrong about Mom and Dad deserving something nice. They work hard, they've been generous with both their kids, and they would love a Hawaiian vacation. But they'd love it more if they could afford it, if their nearly 30-year-old son had a job, if their future daughter-in-law contributed something besides charm and vacation planning skills, if their other daughter didn't have to be the only one in the family who thinks about consequences. I close my laptop and look around my room. The same room I've had since high school, filled with academic awards that nobody ever mentions and career achievements that get overshadowed by Ryan's latest scheme. For the first time in my life, I start wondering what it would be like to live somewhere else. Somewhere I could have opinions without being labeled negative. Somewhere my accomplishments mattered as much as someone else's dreams. Somewhere I could just be Emily, instead of Emily, the responsible one who always points out problems. The thought should scare me. Instead, it feels like the first reasonable idea I've had in months. Chapter 5. The conversation that changes everything happens on a Tuesday evening in November. Mom calls a family meeting, which usually means someone needs money or someone made a decision that affects everyone else. I come downstairs to find everyone gathered in the living room with unusually serious expressions. Chloe's there too, of course, sitting next to Ryan like she's been part of this family for years instead of months. We wanted to talk to you about something important, Dad begins, and immediately I know this isn't good news. Mom's holding an envelope in her hands, like it contains either a lottery ticket or a death certificate. From her expression, I can't tell which. Emily, sweetheart, sit down, she says, patting the armchair across from the couch. I remain standing. Something about their body language tells me I'm going to want the option to leave quickly. We've been thinking about the future, Dad continues, about what happens to the house, about making sure everyone's taken care of. The house. Our family home. The house my parents bought when I was 3 years old. The house they've worked 2 jobs each to pay off for the past 20 years. We've decided, Mom says, her voice oddly formal, to transfer ownership to Ryan. The words hang in the air like smoke. I must have heard wrong. Transfer ownership? I repeat slowly. The house, Dad explains, as if I'm too stupid to understand. We're giving Ryan the deed. He needs stability, and with Chloe in the picture now, he deserves it more than you do. Mom finishes, extending the envelope toward Ryan like she's handing him a prize. Ryan takes it with a grin that makes my stomach turn. Chloe squeezes his arm and makes a little squealing sound that's probably supposed to be excitement, but sounds more like a dying balloon. What? I manage to say. Emily, you're going to be fine, Dad says in that patient tone he uses when he thinks I'm overreacting. You've got your career, your education, your independence. Ryan needs more support to get on his feet. More support. Ryan has had 29 years of support. He's lived in this house rent-free for his entire adult life while I paid my own way through college and contributed to household expenses whenever I could. You're successful on your own, Mom adds. Ryan needs a foundation to build from. A foundation. They're giving him our family home as a foundation while I've built my entire life without any safety net at all. This is insane, I say, my voice coming out higher than I intended. Ryan doesn't have a job. He can't afford the property taxes, the maintenance, the insurance. That's what we're here for, Dad says dismissively. We'll help him figure it out. Of course they will, because Ryan never has to figure anything out on his own. Emily, Chloe speaks up for the first time, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. I know this is hard to hear, but maybe it's time for you to spread your wings. You're so capable, so independent. You don't need this house like Ryan does. Like Ryan does. Ryan, who has never paid a bill, never maintained a property, never been responsible for anything more challenging than remembering to feed himself. But I need it less because I'm capable. You always act like you're better than everyone else anyway, Ryan adds, his grin getting wider. Now you can go prove how amazing you are somewhere else. The room goes completely silent. Even Chloe looks surprised by his tone. Ryan, Mom says weakly, but she doesn't tell him he's wrong. What? It's true. Emily acts like she's the only one in this family who does anything right. She looks down on my dreams. She criticizes Chloe. She questions every decision we make. Maybe it's time she learns what real life is like without Mommy and Daddy's house to fall back on. I stare at him, wondering when my brother turned into someone I don't recognize. Or maybe he's always been this person, and I was too busy trying to be the good daughter to notice. Real life? I repeat. Ryan, I've been living in real life since I was 16. I've paid for my own education, my own car, my own everything while you've been playing video games and coming up with get-rich-quick schemes. That's enough, Dad says sharply. Both of you. Both of us. Like I'm equally responsible for this conversation. Emily, Mom says, standing up and smoothing her pants. You have until the end of the month to make arrangements. We think this is best for everyone. Best for everyone. They think giving the family home to their unemployed son and his freeloading girlfriend is best for everyone. I look around the room one more time. At my parents, who raised me to be independent and are now punishing me for succeeding. At Ryan, who looks like he just won the lottery without buying a ticket. At Chloe, who's managed to manipulate her way into inheriting a house she's lived in for 6 months. And I realize something that probably should have occurred to me years ago. This family doesn't actually want me here. Fine, I say quietly. You're right. It is time for me to spread my wings. I turn and walk toward the stairs, but Ryan's voice stops me. Don't act like you're the victim here. You'll land on your feet. You always do. I turn back to face him, and for the first time in my life, I let him see exactly what I think of him. You're right, Ryan. I will land on my feet. Because unlike you, I've learned how to. I climb the stairs to my room, close the door and sit on my bed, staring at the academic awards and achievement certificates that cover my walls. All those accomplishments, all that hard work, all those years of making my parents proud. And in the end, it didn't matter, because I made it look too easy. The irony is almost funny. I've spent my entire life trying to be the daughter they could be proud of, and it turns out what they really wanted was a daughter who needed them more. Well, congratulations to them. They got one. Chapter 6. Moving out takes exactly 8 hours. I start at 6 in the morning, loading my car with everything that actually belongs to me, which it turns out isn't much. Clothes, books, laptop, a few photos from college, the desk I bought myself, the bedding I paid for, my collection of business and marketing books that nobody else in the family has ever touched. Everything else, the furniture, the decorations, even some of the clothes I thought were mine, apparently belongs to the house. Amazing how 26 years of life can fit into the back of a Honda Civic. Mom hovers in the hallway while I pack, making occasional comments about how this is probably for the best, and how independence will be good for me. She doesn't offer to help carry anything, doesn't ask where I'm planning to live, doesn't seem concerned about her daughter being functionally homeless. But when I walk past Ryan's room, I can hear him on the phone with Chloe, already making plans for their house, talking about which room will be the home office for his YouTube empire, and whether they should get a hot tub for the backyard. Dad's in his workshop, avoiding the whole situation with the dedication he usually reserves for avoiding family drama. Some things never change. At 2 in the afternoon, I carry my last box out to the car. Mom follows me to the driveway, wrapping her cardigan around herself like this is some kind of tragic goodbye instead of the logical conclusion of their own decision. Emily, she says as I close the trunk, you know we love you, right? I look at her for a long moment. Standing in the driveway of the house she just gave to my unemployed brother and his girlfriend. The house where I grew up, where I did my homework at the kitchen table, where I celebrated every academic achievement and career milestone. I know you love the idea of me, I tell her, the successful daughter who doesn't need anything from anyone. But I'm not sure you actually love me. Her face crumples a little. That's not fair. What's not fair is giving away someone's childhood home to prove a point about independence. I get in my car and start the engine. Through the windshield, I can see Ryan peeking out the front window, probably making sure I'm actually leaving. Don't worry, Ryan. I'm leaving. And I won't be back. The temporary apartment I found is a one-bedroom in a complex across town. $600 a month for 400 square feet and paper-thin walls. It's not much, but it's mine. Completely. Legally. Undeniably. Mine. For the first time in months, I can breathe. The first week is harder than I expected. Not because I miss the house. Honestly, it feels like a relief to come home without wondering what family drama I'm walking into. But because I keep reaching for my phone to text Mom about something funny that happened at work, or to tell Dad about my latest class project. And then I remember that I'm not welcome in their story anymore. But by the second week, something interesting starts happening. I sleep better. My stress levels drop. I can study without interruption, work late without guilt, eat my own food without worrying someone else will get to it first. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm living my own life instead of playing a supporting role in someone else's drama. The third week brings news that shouldn't surprise me but somehow does. Jennifer at work mentions seeing a social media post from someone's cousin who knows Ryan. Apparently, he and Chloe are already talking about getting married. In the house they didn't pay for, planning a wedding they can't afford, with money they don't have. Are you okay? Jennifer asks when she sees my expression. I'm perfect, I tell her. And for the first time in months, I actually mean it. That night, I get a text from Mom. How are you settling in? We haven't heard from you. I stare at the message for a long time before typing back. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. She responds immediately. We miss you. The house feels empty without you. The house feels empty. Not we miss having you here, or we made a mistake, or we're sorry. Just the house feels empty. Well, Mom, the house is going to feel a lot emptier when Ryan and Chloe figure out how much it actually costs to maintain a 4-bedroom house on zero income. But that's not my problem anymore. I delete the text thread and order Chinese takeout. Just for me. Exactly what I want. Exactly when I want it. Without consulting anyone else's preferences or dietary restrictions. It's the first meal I've eaten in months that actually tastes good. A month later, something amazing happens. I get the promotion I've been working toward for 2 years. Senior marketing coordinator with a salary increase that's more money than I've ever made in my life. The kind of money that could change everything. I celebrate by doing exactly what I want to do. I buy myself a nice dinner. I upgrade my apartment to a 1-bedroom with a decent kitchen, and I start looking at graduate programs in other cities. New York, Chicago, maybe even Los Angeles. Places where nobody knows me as Emily the responsible one. Places where I can just be Emily. My phone stays silent. No congratulations from Mom. No questions about my new job from Dad. No sarcastic comments from Ryan, because they don't know about the promotion, and they haven't bothered to ask how I'm doing, which tells me everything I need to know about how much they actually missed me. 6 weeks after I moved out, I'm sitting in my new apartment, working on applications for MBA programs across the country, when my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Emily, this is Chloe. Can we talk? I stare at the message, wondering what fresh drama this represents, but I'm curious enough to respond. What about? It's about Ryan and your parents. I think you should know what's been happening since you left. Oh, this should be good. But I'm not that Emily anymore. The Emily who drops everything to solve other people's problems. The Emily who feels responsible for fixing what other people break. I type back, thanks, but I'm good. Whatever's happening, I'm sure your family can handle it. Your family. Because that's what they are now. I turn off my phone and go back to my applications. Tomorrow, I'll submit my resume for a marketing position in Manhattan. A position that would be perfect for someone with my experience and education. Someone independent. Someone capable. Someone who doesn't need anyone else's house or approval or validation. Someone exactly like the Emily they created when they decided I was too strong to need their support. They were right about one thing, though. I will land on my feet. The question is whether they will. Chapter 7. 3 months after moving out, my phone rings at 9 p.m. on a Thursday. The caller ID shows my old boss's name, which is weird because I left the company recently for a position with a significant salary increase. Emily? Sorry to call so late, but I just got the most interesting phone call. What kind of interesting? I ask, pausing the Netflix show I'm binge-watching in my upgraded apartment. Someone from Reynolds & Associates in Manhattan called asking about your work history. Specifically, they wanted to know if you were available for an opportunity. Reynolds & Associates, one of the well-respected marketing firms in the country. The kind of company I used to dream about working for someday. What did you tell them? I told them the truth. That you're the most competent marketing professional I've ever worked with. That losing you was the biggest mistake our company has made in years. And that whoever hires you is getting a bargain. A few weeks later, I'm sitting in an office on a high floor of a Manhattan building, signing paperwork for a position that comes with opportunities I never imagined possible. Marketing director. A salary that's life-changing, plus benefits that are better than anything I've seen. Full relocation package, excellent health insurance, and generous vacation time. When can you start? Asks Patricia Chen, the VP who interviewed me. How about soon? I tell her, because why wait? Within a month, I'm walking to work through parts of Manhattan, living in a nice apartment and eating lunch at restaurants I used to see on TV shows. The irony isn't lost on me. Ryan thought kicking me out would teach me about real life. Turns out real life includes opportunities that small-town thinking can't even imagine. I video called Jennifer from my old job to tell her about the move. New York City, she says, shaking her head in amazement. Emily, do you realize what you've accomplished? I'm starting to, I tell her, looking out my apartment window at a view of the city that used to exist only in movies. What do you think will happen next when Emily's family realizes what they've lost? Drop your predictions in the comments below because trust me, you won't see this coming. Have you heard from your family? Radio silence, I tell her, which is exactly what I expected. What I don't tell Jennifer is that the silence has been a relief. No guilt trips about missing family dinners, no pressure to solve problems I didn't create, no exhausting performances of being grateful for scraps of attention while someone else gets celebrated for basic existence. For the first time in my adult life, I'm living without the background noise of family dysfunction. And it turns out I'm really, really good at it. My new job is challenging in ways that energize me instead of draining me. My boss treats my ideas with respect. My colleagues invite me to lunch because they want to spend time with me, not because they need something from me. I'm working on campaigns for clients whose names I recognize from billboards and commercials, projects that will be seen by many people, the kind of work that builds careers and opens doors I didn't even know existed. In the evenings, I explore the city. Museums, restaurants, Broadway shows, art galleries, all the culture I used to read about in magazines while sitting in my childhood bedroom in Ohio, dreaming about someday living somewhere that mattered. Well, someday arrived faster than I expected. A few months into the job, Patricia calls me into her office with news that makes my head spin. Emily, the Morrison account wants to work directly with you on their national campaign, exclusively. Morrison Industries, the client every marketing professional in the city wants to work with. The account that launches careers and writes recommendation letters for people who want to start their own agencies. They were specifically impressed with your demographic analysis and your media strategy proposal, Patricia continues. They said you understood their market better than agencies they've worked with for years. The bonus for landing Morrison as an exclusive client is more money than I've ever seen in one place. That night, I treat myself to dinner at a restaurant where the waitstaff knows more about wine than I know about anything. I order something nice, not because I need to prove anything, but because I can. Because I earned it. While I'm eating my perfectly prepared salmon and drinking wine that makes my old life seem like a distant memory, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown Ohio number. Emily, this is your Aunt Carol. Hope you're doing well. Heard through the grapevine that you moved to New York. How exciting! Aunt Carol, who has never texted me in my life, whose previous communication with me consisted entirely of Christmas cards with $5 bills and vague comments about how I should find a nice boy and settle down. I don't respond immediately. Something about the timing feels off. 2 hours later, another text. Would love to catch up sometime. Family misses you. Family misses me. After 4 months of complete silence, I finish my wine and delete both messages without responding. Whatever's happening back home, it's not my problem anymore. And honestly, that feels fantastic. The next morning, I wake up in my Manhattan apartment, put on a designer suit I bought with my signing bonus, and walk to a job that values my intelligence and pays me what I'm worth. Life is good. Really, really good. And I haven't needed my family's approval even once. Chapter 8. The desperate phone call comes on a Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. I'm getting ready for a breakfast meeting with the Morrison team when my phone starts ringing with Mom's number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rings again. And again. After the fourth call, I answer. Emily? Mom's voice is shaky, panicked in a way I've never heard before. Emily, thank God. We've been trying to reach you for weeks. I've been busy, I tell her, which is true. Between work and actually having a social life for the first time ever, I haven't thought about Ohio in weeks. Honey, we need to talk. We're in trouble. We're real trouble. I pause my makeup routine and look at myself in my bathroom mirror. The same mirror that reflects an apartment in Manhattan, a closet full of professional clothes, and a life I built without anyone's help or approval. What kind of trouble, Mom? Financial trouble. The property taxes on the house came due, and we can't cover them. The insurance payment bounced. The mortgage company is asking questions about the deed transfer to Ryan. Reality has finally arrived in the Cooper household. That sounds complicated, I say carefully. Emily, we're going to lose the house. Everything we worked for, everything we built for this family, we need help. The word help hangs in the air between us like a toxic cloud. Help. From the daughter they decided was too successful to need their support. From the daughter they kicked out to make room for Ryan's unemployment benefits and Chloe's freeloading skills. Mom, what does Ryan say about all this? It's his house now, right? Silence on the other end of the line. Mom, Ryan doesn't have any money. He quit his last job 6 weeks ago. Chloe's pregnant, or she says she is, and she wants him to focus on being a provider, but he can't seem to find the right opportunity. Of course he can't. Ryan has never found the right opportunity in his entire adult life, but somehow this is surprising news to my parents. What about Chloe? Can't she get a job? She's having a difficult pregnancy. Very delicate. She needs Ryan's support right now. A difficult pregnancy. How conveniently timed. Mom, I say looking at my watch, I have to get to work. I'm sure you'll figure something out. Emily, please. We just need a loan to cover the immediate costs. Once Ryan gets back on his feet, I interrupt. He can handle his own financial responsibilities. You know, like an adult. This isn't like you, sweetheart. You've always been there for family. Always been there for family. Right up until family decided I wasn't worth keeping around. Mom, I need to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before you answer. She waits. When you gave Ryan the house, what exactly did you think was going to happen? Did you think he was suddenly going to become financially responsible? Did you think Chloe was going to get a career overnight? Or did you just assume I'd always be available to clean up whatever mess they created? Longer silence. We thought Ryan deserved a chance to prove himself. And what about me? What did I deserve? You deserved to make your own way. You were always so capable, so independent, so you kicked me out. We didn't kick you out. We gave you an opportunity to spread your wings. An opportunity. They gave me an opportunity by taking away my childhood home and giving it to my unemployed brother. Well, Mom, I spread my wings. I'm living in Manhattan, working for a respected marketing firm, doing incredibly well. So thank you for that opportunity. I can hear her breathing change, like she's starting to cry. Emily, please. We made mistakes, but we're family. Family helps each other. You're right, I tell her. Family does help each other. So I have a suggestion for you. Hope creeps into her voice. What? Ask your son. Ask Ryan. Ask the person you decided deserved the house more than I did. Ask him to figure out how to keep it. I hang up before she can respond. My hands are shaking slightly, but not from anxiety. From something that feels surprisingly like relief. For 26 years, I played the role of the responsible daughter, the one who could be counted on to sacrifice, to solve problems, to put family needs ahead of her own wants. And what did it get me? A one-way ticket out of the family when they found someone they liked better. Well, congratulations to them. They got exactly what they wanted. Ryan owns the house, Chloe got her provider, and I got my independence. The only problem with their plan is that independence comes with the freedom to say no. I finish getting ready for work, put on my most expensive lipstick, and walk out into the New York morning feeling lighter than I have in months. My phone buzzes with text messages throughout the day. Mom, Dad, even Aunt Carol asking if I got Mom's message and could I please call back as soon as possible. I delete them all without reading past the first sentence. At lunch, my colleague Sarah mentions that she's looking for someone to share a 2-bedroom apartment in a nice area. The rent's steep, she warns, but it's got a roof deck and a great view. I'll take it, I tell her without asking about the price. Because I can afford it. Because I earned it. and because I don't have to send money to Ohio every month to bail out family members who think responsibility is a character flaw. That evening, I'm packing to move to my new apartment when my phone rings again. This time it's Dad. Emily, your mother is beside herself. She thinks you hate us. I sit down on my couch in my apartment that I pay for with my own money, and really consider his statement. Do I hate you? Do I hate? No, Dad. I don't hate you, but I don't owe you anything either. We raised you. We supported you growing up. And then you decided I didn't need support anymore because I was too successful. So I took you at your word. That's not what we meant. Then you should have said what you meant instead of assuming I'd always be available to fix whatever Ryan broke. The conversation ends the same way the one with Mom did, with me hanging up and them finally understanding that the responsible daughter they took for granted has learned a very important lesson. Independence means never having to say you're sorry for someone else's choices. Chapter 9. The next few weeks bring a series of increasingly desperate communications from Ohio that read like updates from a sinking ship. First, a text from Ryan himself. Emily, Mom said you won't help with the house. I know we had our differences, but this is bigger than that. Our differences. As if systematically excluding me from family decisions and then kicking me out of my childhood home was some minor sibling disagreement. I don't respond. Then Aunt Carol again. Emily, sweetheart, maybe you could just call your mother. She's been crying every day. Mom crying every day. Where was that maternal emotion when she was handing over my inheritance to the golden child? Delete. Then Dad, via email this time. Emily, I know you're angry, but we need to discuss this as adults. The bank is asking questions about the deed transfer. There may have been some irregularities in how we handled the paperwork. Irregularities? That's a fancy way of saying they gave away a house to someone who can't afford to own it. Still not my problem. But the message I've been waiting for comes 3 weeks later, at 11 p.m. on a Friday. A text from an unknown number. Emily, this is Chloe. I need to tell you what's really happening. Against my better judgment, I respond. I'm listening. Ryan's been lying to everyone. He's not looking for work. He sleeps until noon, plays video games all day, and tells your parents he's networking and building his brand. The house is a disaster. There's no heat because he didn't pay the gas bill. I haven't had a hot shower in 2 weeks. Interesting. Trouble in paradise. Your parents keep giving him money for utilities and maintenance, but he spends it on gaming equipment and takeout. Yesterday, he bought a $1,000 gaming chair while your mom was calling around begging people for loans. A $1,000 gaming chair. While my parents panic about losing their house. The worst part? He keeps saying this is all your fault. That you abandoned the family when they needed you most. That you're selfish and vindictive. My fault. Of course it is. Chloe, why are you telling me this? Because I'm not pregnant. I lied about that to get him to commit to the relationship. But now I'm stuck living in a freezing house with someone who thinks he won the lottery and doesn't have to work anymore. So leave. I can't. I don't have anywhere to go. I quit my job when I moved in here because Ryan said he'd take care of everything. The con artist got conned. There's some poetic justice in that. Chloe, I appreciate you telling me this, but it doesn't change anything. These are choices you all made. But don't you care about your parents? They could lose everything. My parents made a calculated decision that Ryan deserved their house more than I did. Now they get to live with that calculation. I block her number and go back to my Friday night plans, which involve a new restaurant in Greenwich Village and a date with a financial advisor who thinks my career trajectory is impressive, because that's what Friday nights look like when you don't spend them solving other people's problems. The following Monday brings the news I've been expecting. An email from Dad. Subject line, emergency. Emily, the bank is foreclosing on the house. We have 30 days to bring the mortgage current or we lose everything. Ryan hasn't paid property taxes in months. The deed transfer created legal complications that require expensive attorneys to resolve. We need a significant amount of money immediately. A significant amount. That's more than most people have saved. It's also less than my recent bonus from the Morrison account. He follows up with a phone call that I let go to voicemail. Emily, I know you have resources now. I know you're doing well in New York. This family has always supported your success. Now we're asking for support in return. Please call me back. This family has always supported my success, except for the part where they gave away my inheritance and told me I didn't deserve it. I saved the voicemail but not to respond to it, to remind myself why I left in the first place. That evening, I'm having dinner with my new roommate Sarah when my phone buzzes with a call from Ryan. Who's that? Sarah asks, noticing my expression. My brother, the one I told you about. The unemployed one who got your parents' house? That's the one. Are you going to answer? I look at the phone, then at Sarah, then at the beautiful apartment we share with its great view and its rent. That's more than most people are comfortable with, but totally manageable for me. No, I tell her. I'm not. I turn off the phone and pour myself another glass of the excellent wine we opened to celebrate my latest promotion, because that's what successful people do on Monday nights. They celebrate their achievements instead of cleaning up other people's messes. And for the first time in my adult life, I'm finally successful enough to do it. Chapter 10. 2 months later, on a Thursday afternoon while I'm in a strategy meeting with the Morrison team, my assistant knocks on the conference room door. "Emily, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's someone here to see you. He says he's your brother and it's an emergency." Every head in the room turns to look at me. I can feel my face getting warm. "Tell him I'm in meetings all day and can't be disturbed." I did. He said he'll wait. Of course he will, because Ryan has never understood the word no when it's applied to him. "Should I call security?" my assistant asks quietly. The fact that she's asking tells me Ryan's appearance is probably as disheveled as I'm imagining. "Give me 5 minutes, I tell the Morrison team. Personal emergency. I walk to the lobby and find Ryan sitting in one of the sleek leather chairs, looking like he hasn't slept or showered in days. His clothes are wrinkled, his hair is greasy, and he's holding a coffee cup that's clearly been empty for hours. He looks exactly like what he is, a desperate man with no other options. "Emily." He stands up when he sees me, relief flooding his face. "Thank God. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. How did you find my office? Does it matter? We need to talk. The lobby of my building is full of people in expensive suits conducting important business. The last thing I need is a family drama playing out in front of my colleagues and clients." "Come on," I tell him, leading him to a small conference room near the elevators. He follows me, and I can smell the desperation on him like cheap cologne. When I close the door, he immediately starts talking. "Emily, I know things got complicated between us, but this is bigger than family arguments. Mom and Dad are about to lose the house. Everything they worked for, their entire life savings, gone." I sit down across from him and really look at my brother for the first time in months. He's lost weight, but not in a good way. His hands are shaking slightly, and there are dark circles under his eyes that speak to nights spent staring at the ceiling, calculating debts. "Ryan, whose name is on the deed to that house?" "Mine, but that's not the point." "That's exactly the point. It's your house, your responsibility, your problem to solve." "I can't solve it." The words burst out of him like he's been holding them back for weeks. "I don't have the money, I don't have a job, I don't have any idea how to fix this." "Then get a job." It's not that simple anymore. The foreclosure is public record now. My credit is destroyed. Chloe left me and told everyone I was a fraud. Nobody wants to hire someone whose life is falling apart. Chloe left him. Interesting timing. When did she leave? 2 weeks ago, right after the bank posted the foreclosure notice. Suddenly she remembered she had family in California who could help her get back on her feet. Family who could help her get back on her feet. Amazing how Chloe found her independence right about the time the free ride ended. "Ryan, I have a question for you." He leans forward eagerly, probably thinking I'm about to offer solutions. "When you convinced Mom and Dad to give you the house, what exactly did you think was going to happen?" His face goes blank. "I mean, specifically. Walk me through the plan. You take ownership of a 4-bedroom house with property taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance costs, and mortgage payments, with no job, no savings, no income. What was your strategy for covering those expenses?" Silence. "Did you think the house was going to magically become free once your name was on the deed? Did you think the bills would stop coming? Or did you just assume someone else would figure it out for you?" "I thought I'd have more time to get established. I thought the YouTube thing might take off, or I'd find the right opportunity." "You thought someone else would pay your bills until your fantasies became profitable. That's not fair. What's not fair is giving a house to someone who can't afford to own it and then expecting other people to clean up the mess." Ryan's composure finally cracks completely. "Emily, they're going to be homeless. Our parents who raised us, who sacrificed for us, who gave us everything they had. They're going to lose their home because I screwed up. Now, we're getting to the truth." "Yes," I tell him calmly. "They are going to lose their home because you screwed up. And they're going to lose it because they made a decision based on feelings instead of facts. So you're just going to let it happen? You're going to let our parents suffer because you're angry at me?" I look at my brother sitting across from me in a conference room 40 floors above Manhattan, begging me to solve problems he created, and I feel something I haven't felt in months. Clarity. "Ryan, I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you." He nods eagerly. "When Mom and Dad gave you that house, they told me you deserved it more than I did. They said I was too successful, too independent, too capable to need their support. They said you needed a foundation and I didn't. Emily, I'm not finished. They looked at everything I'd accomplished, everything I'd worked for, everything I'd achieved on my own, and decided it meant I was worth less than someone who'd never accomplished anything. Ryan's face goes pale. So I took them at their word. If I'm too successful to deserve their support, then I'm too successful to provide it. If I'm too independent to need their help, then I'm too independent to offer it. But we're family. You chose to believe I was worth less than you. Now live with that choice. I stand up and walk toward the door. Emily, please, I'm begging you. I turn back to look at him one last time. You know what the really sad part is, Ryan? If you'd gotten a job, if you'd shown any responsibility at all, if you'd proven that their faith in you was justified, I might have helped when things got difficult. But you didn't. You did exactly what I knew you'd do, which was nothing. I open the door. Good luck with your foreclosure. I walk back to the Morrison meeting, where important people are waiting to discuss significant campaigns with someone they respect and value. Behind me, I hear Ryan calling my name, but I don't turn around. I have work to do. Chapter 11. The final chapter of the Cooper family house drama plays out exactly as I predicted, with updates filtering through the extended family network like reports from a distant war zone. Aunt Carol, apparently appointed as the official family correspondent, sends periodic texts with increasingly dramatic news bulletins. House officially foreclosed last week. Your parents had to move out with 1 day's notice. Ryan living in his car. Chloe completely disappeared. Might have been in contact with her ex-boyfriend the whole time. Your father had to take early retirement. Stress-related health problems. Your mother applied for jobs at grocery stores. Very difficult for her. Each message ends with some variation of, maybe you could reach out, which I delete along with the message. But it's the message that comes 6 months later that really tells the story. Your parents moved into a 1-bedroom apartment across town. Ryan finally got a job at a call center. He hates it. Works 10-hour shifts, complains constantly. Says he never realized how hard work actually is. Ryan discovering that work is hard. There's some irony for you. The apartment, Aunt Carol explains in a follow-up message, costs more per month than their old mortgage payment, but it's all they could qualify for with damaged credit and no savings. Dad's early retirement means a reduced pension. Mom's part-time grocery store job barely covers utilities. They're getting by, but just barely. Very different from the life they planned for their golden years. Very different indeed. Instead of enjoying the house they worked 25 years to pay off, they're back to making rent payments and checking account balances. Instead of having a son who owns property and contributes to the family legacy, they have a son who learned the hard way that responsibility isn't optional. The most interesting update comes 9 months after the foreclosure. In a longer message from Aunt Carol. Saw your mother at the grocery store where she works. She mentioned that she and your father have been talking about the mistakes they made with you kids. She said they always knew you were capable, but they didn't realize that being capable doesn't mean you don't deserve support. They thought Ryan needed the house more, but now they see they should have rewarded capability instead of enabling inability. She cried while she told me this. Too little, too late, but at least they figured it out eventually. Meanwhile, my life continues to exceed every expectation I had when I left Ohio. The Morrison account led to several more important clients. My annual performance reviews have been exceptional. I've been promoted and have received opportunities that seemed impossible just a few years ago. I've moved to a better apartment with a nice view. I can afford to travel now. London for client meetings, other cities for market research, conferences where I present strategies I developed, business trips with good hotels and professional opportunities. The girl who used to save money by eating lunch at her desk now eats lunch at restaurants she never thought she could afford. But the real victory isn't the money or the career success, or even the apartment with a view. The real victory is the peace. No phone calls asking me to solve other people's problems. No guilt trips about not being available enough. No exhausting performances of gratitude for minimal attention. No walking on eggshells around people who resent my success while depending on my responsibility. For the first time in my adult life, I wake up every morning thinking about my own goals instead of everyone else's needs. It's remarkable how much energy you have for your own life when you stop spending it on other people's drama. My assistant mentions one day that she's impressed by how focused I am, how clearly I prioritize, how efficiently I make decisions. It's like you don't waste any mental space on things that aren't your responsibility, she observes. Exactly, I tell her. I learned the hard way that other people's poor planning doesn't constitute my emergency. What I don't tell her is that I learned that lesson from my own family. The people who taught me that being reliable means being expendable. That being successful means being taken for granted. That being capable means being worth less. They thought they were giving me a gift when they forced me to become independent. They had no idea how right they were. The final communication from Ohio comes on a Tuesday evening while I'm hosting a dinner party in my nice apartment. 8 colleagues from work discussing market trends over wine that's actually worth savoring. A text from Mom, the first direct communication in over a year. Emily, I know you don't want to hear from us, but I need you to know that we're proud of you. We see now that we made terrible mistakes. We hope someday you might forgive us. I read the message while my guests are debating media strategy for luxury brands. These people, my colleagues, my peers, respect my opinions. They value my insights. They include me in conversations about industry trends and career opportunities. They see me as an equal, not as the responsible daughter whose job is to clean up everyone else's messes. I delete the message without responding and pour myself another glass of excellent wine. Because here's what Mom doesn't understand. I don't need their pride anymore. I don't need their approval or their forgiveness or their belated recognition of my worth. I have something better than their validation. I have the life they accidentally gave me when they decided I was strong enough to handle rejection. And it turns out they were right about my strength, just not in the way they expected. They thought the punishment was making me prove I could survive without them. The joke's on them. I didn't just survive. I flourished. Chapter 12. 2 years after leaving Ohio, I'm sitting in my office overlooking Manhattan when my assistant buzzes with an unusual request. Emily, there's a woman on line 3 who says she's your mother. She's calling about something she says you need to know before you hear it from someone else. Linda Cooper. Calling my office like a client instead of family. I almost tell my assistant to take a message, but something about the phrasing stops me. Something I need to know before I hear it from someone else. Put her through. Emily? Mom's voice is smaller than I remember. Older somehow. What can I do for you, Mom? I'm calling because Ryan was arrested yesterday. That gets my attention. For what? Fraud. He was running some kind of online scheme, selling products that didn't exist, taking people's money for investment opportunities that weren't real. The police said he stole a significant amount of money from many people. Significant money. About what they would have needed to save the house years ago. When did this start? They think it's been going on for months. Maybe since he lost the house. He was telling people he was a successful entrepreneur, showing off fake business documents, taking their money, and promising huge returns. Of course he was. Because Ryan never learned the difference between earning money and taking it. Mom, why are you calling to tell me this? Silence for a moment. Then, because his victims included some of our neighbors. People we've known for 20 years. People who trusted him because he was our son. Ah, now I understand. It's not just Ryan who's facing consequences anymore. The whole town knows. She continues. It's in the newspaper, it's all over social media. People are looking at us like we raised a criminal. Maybe because you did. The words come out harsher than I intended, but I don't take them back. Emily, please. I know you're angry with us, and you have every right to be, but Ryan is still your brother. Ryan stopped being my brother when he decided I was worth less than he was. That's not... We never said you were worth less. You gave him our family home and told me he deserved it more. What would you call that? A mistake, she says quietly. A terrible, terrible mistake that we've regretted every day since. Too late for regrets, but I appreciate the honesty. Mom, what exactly do you want from me? I don't know. Maybe just, could you come home? Could we try to fix this? Home. As if I have a home there anymore. Fix what exactly? Our family. The damage we did. The way we treated you. I look out my office window at the city I've made my own. In a few hours, I have a meeting with executives from a major company who want to hire my agency. Tomorrow, I'm flying to another city for a conference where I'm presenting. Next week, I'm viewing better apartments because my success has grown. Mom, do you know what I did yesterday? No. I signed a contract for a major campaign, a significant project that represents everything I've worked toward. Silence. Do you know what I'm doing next month? No. I'm speaking at a conference in London about market strategies. They're paying me well to share expertise I developed myself. Emily, that's wonderful, but do you know what I do in my free time? She doesn't answer. I travel. I invest. I buy things I like. I date interesting people who think my career is impressive instead of threatening. I live in a nice apartment and I can afford the things I want. I'm glad you're successful, sweetheart. I always knew you would be. No, you didn't. You knew I was competent. You knew I was responsible. But you never believed I could be genuinely successful because you were too busy making excuses for someone who wasn't. The conversation ends the way all conversations with my family end now, with me explaining reality and them wishing reality was different. After I hang up, I sit in my office thinking about the path that led me here. The late nights in my childhood bedroom, working toward scholarships they barely noticed. The college years when I supported myself while Ryan lived at home rent-free. The early career struggles when I saved every penny while he spent money he didn't earn. All those years, I thought I was working toward their approval, toward recognition, toward earning my place in a family that seemed to value dreams over achievements. What I was actually working toward was this: complete independence from people who confused enabling with love. The irony is perfect. They threw me out because they thought I didn't need their support. They were right. I didn't need their support. I needed their absence. Their rejection forced me to stop performing for an audience that would never appreciate the show. It freed me to build a life based on my own values instead of their dysfunction. It taught me the difference between being needed and being valued. My phone buzzes with a message from my assistant. The meeting moved up to 2 p.m. Should I order lunch for the conference room? Yes, I respond. And something nice for afterwards. We're celebrating. Because that's what successful people do. They celebrate victories instead of mourning relationships that were never healthy to begin with. The last message I ever send about my family goes to Aunt Carol that evening. Heard about Ryan. Sorry for your loss, but not surprised. Please don't contact me again about family matters. I wish everyone well, but I'm not available for this drama anymore. I block her number and delete every Ohio contact from my phone. Because here's what took me 28 years to learn. The people who love you don't make you prove you're worthy of love. They don't give away your inheritance because you're too successful to need it. They don't kick you out of your childhood home because you make other people look bad by comparison. The people who actually love you celebrate your strength instead of punishing you for it. And if you don't have people like that in your life, you build a life so amazing that their absence becomes irrelevant. 3 months later, I'm on a plane to Tokyo, reviewing contracts for my latest client, when the flight attendant offers me a complimentary drink. Celebrating something special? She asks. I look out the window at clouds and sky and the vast distance between where I am now and where I started. Yes, I tell her. My independence. She smiles and fills my glass. Congratulations. The plane climbs higher, carrying me toward a life I built entirely myself, funded by talents I developed without anyone's help, toward opportunities I earned through competence instead of inheritance. Below us, Ohio disappears into the distance. Above us, the sky stretches infinite with possibilities. And in my seat, Emily Cooper, successful, independent, unbroken, toasts the family that accidentally gave her the greatest gift of all, the motivation to prove them wrong about everything. If this story resonated with you, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories about finding your strength when the people who should support you don't. Sometimes the best families are the ones we build ourselves.